Stop that. Stop that. Stop that. Yeah. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the walking. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome. Yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch my please use caution. Cold like 0 degrees. I'm out the cage, gotta let out the beast. Revolutionary, gotta let out the streets. Locked in a cage, I'ma let out the sheets. We came for one more, forget my peace. You take the west, I'll take on the east. I'ma put him in the cage, never let out the. I hear him chat to the noise. Move too quick, can't stop for the talking. I hear him chat with the boys. Man so tough, but mans keep walking, yeah. Just too sharp with the prize. White girls better tell me I'm awesome, yeah. Hot like fire on the pan. If you wanna touch me, please use caution. Stop that. Stop that. Stop that.
We have ourselves a second helping of Greg Cody.
Oh, too much.
What do you mean too much?
It's just more than
never enough.
Okay. Who needs him? Who needs me?
I need him.
Okay. I'm here for you.
I need as much as I can get. I mean, the NBA Finals tip off tonight. LeBron will not allow the NBA Finals to tip off without making himself the biggest story, bigger than the NBA Finals, as it is reported by Woj that the Lakers are preparing a massive offer for Dan Hurley, the head coach at UConn. This is great. This is LeBron at his absolute best, Greg.
Perfect. It's perfect.
Now, there's no one around here that's less knowledgeable when it comes to journalism than me, but it seems like all these journalists nowadays are reporting stuff without actually reporting stuff.
That's exactly right.
It's like the Lakers are circling in, so if he doesn't end up being the coach, you're kind of good. You're not saying that he's the next head coach. You're kind of just like, if he ends up being the head coach, I was right. If not, I didn't actually report it.
Listen to the language of the last 2 days. So Shams reported that it would be J.J. Redick. But the language in the tweet is the Los Angeles Lakers are zeroing in.
I love a good zeroing
on
in.
J.J. Redick as the front runner for the franchise's next head coach. So
Kinda
not
like,
just they haven't agreed to anything, they're zeroing in on it, but zeroing in as the front runner. So not even zeroing in on hiring him. And then Woj today, breaking, the Los Angeles Lakers are targeting Connecticut's Dan Hurley to become the franchise's next head coach and are preparing a massive long-term contract. So no, they haven't offered it. No, they haven't even finished the contract. They're preparing to offer it. And yet these are all posed as breaking news. This isn't the breaking news yet. Tell me when someone's been hired. Tell me when someone's actually had a contract
I
offered.
understand.
It's like saying Iowa's targeting Nick Saban to be the next head coach, all right? We're just making shit up here.
Right, and who isn't?
Yeah, I'm targeting Chris Evans to be my boyfriend. We're just talking.
Yeah. What was the first term used? The one
zeroing in.
Which one do you guys like the best? Honing in, zeroing in, or targeting?
When I picture zeroing in, I picture me at the Benihana looking at the chicken and shrimp. I'm zeroing in on it. I haven't ordered it yet.
Right.
But it's what I'm zeroing in on.
Okay.
In order, it's targeting. You're targeting. You're looking at the area.
Yeah.
Then you start to hone in on the area, and then you see everything that's in your way, and then you zero in on that final topic.
I like a honing in. I do. Greg, what do you like? I mean, there is a journalist who's here. Greg, what do you like in terms of terms?
I like a targeting. Targeting is because it you picture a bullseye.
Right.
They're targeting. They get a bow and arrow. They're about to shoot an arrow right into the bullseye.
Right.
Preparing a massive offer. I hate the fact that they call it breaking news, though. Okay, it's what it is. It's sort of breaking speculation. It's not breaking news.
More of a crack.
Doesn't have the same ring to it, though.
I know breaking speculation is like a weird phrase.
Right.
But that would be more accurate than breaking news because they're not even saying they have made a massive offer to Hurley. Preparing could mean anything. Preparing means they're thinking about it.
Right.
Basically.
Yes. Yeah.
So.
It is coming from the best NBA reporter in the business, Woj. But you're right. Like, if you think Hurley's going to be the next head coach, come out and say it.
Yeah. There's a real art to breaking news that isn't really breaking news. And on the Herald staff, Barry Jackson is a great reporter. Like he probably breaks more news than anybody on our staff, but even he uses that careful language when he's reporting something that isn't finalized.
Ass covering.
But it's sort of targeting, just words like that, targeting, preparing, zeroing in on. It's an art of journalism is to pretend, say that you're breaking news when you're really not.
You have that target, the bullseye, on Dan Hurley's back, right?
Yes. Oh yeah, or right on his chest.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so Rob Pelinka and LeBron James and, the Bus family, they're all shooting at that target. Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly right.
Okay.
And J.J. Redick is off to the side getting the collateral shrapnel, I think.
When I see that Dan Hurley report, I think I go through the John Gruden prism of it's just his agent trying to get him more money. I mean, not that Woj. I feel like the agent might just leak it. I don't know. It's just I don't trust anything is what I'm really trying to say.
I will say this, that Dan Hurley has talked about wanting to be an NBA coach for a while now. He's done all you could do at UConn. They won back-to-back national championships. He has the best program in America right now. So he's talked about being an NBA coach. Your first job being the Lakers coach, that's a pretty damn good job. There's also a trend here where college coaches were the stars of college sports. And you're seeing a bunch of them leave. They're going to the NBA because they don't like what college sports has become. You saw Coach K walk away from it. Nick Saban walk away from it. You've had others walk away from it. Jim Harbaugh left college, went back to the NFL, and now you have a guy who's in the perfect position. Back-to-back championships with a great recruiting class coming in and tons of money. And he's like, Bronny James.
Right.
I mean, it's crazy what's happening in college sports.
It's been more work than ever to be a college coach. I do disagree with one thing that you said. Coach K didn't step away. He just lost the title and hung around.
Okay.
He's still the head coach of Duke. You just don't. You're not like.
He hasn't taken one step away from that place?
He's got an office there still.
All right, put it on the poll. Has Coach K even taken one step away from the Duke job?
Yeah.
Just one step.
Nope.
Well, the one step, seemingly, is, according to a bunch of different sources, and the article in The Athletic with Shams, is helping the Lakers decide who their next head coach would be. And everybody thought when that was initially sort of put out there that would automatically mean J.J. Redick, his former player. But it looks like now, if Dan Hurley actually ends up being the head coach of the Los Angeles Lakers, that it's Bobby Hurley's brother, Dan Hurley, Bobby Hurley, who played for Coach K, who now ends up getting that inside track. So one way or another, Coach K's influence is felt with the Lakers and clearly with the Duke program, too.
I'm imagining Coach K's phone ringing. He's like, it's LeBron. He's like, honey, it's LeBron. We're getting back into coaching. Hey, what's up, LeBron? Hey. Oh, Lakers job. Honey, I was right. Lakers job. Yeah, you want me to help? Well, you want me to help find the coach. Oh, I thought, honey, cancel the plans. I'm gonna help LeBron find the Lakers coach.
That was amazing acting by you. I'm proud of you.
That was pretty good. That's not bad. Especially the gesture with the phone here, the classic phone gesture.
And, and the look away, too.
We all do
honey.
that, right? Don't we all do that mid-conversation? Talk to our, like, honey, this is who I'm talking to.
Yeah, you
Do you
pretend
guys want
to.
to hear something crazy?
Honey.
This generation, they don't do the phone like the thumb up pinky. They just do a flat hand because they're
Really?
they're not
speaker?
used to like this type of phone. So if they're like pretending to be on the phone, they'll be like,
Oh,
isn't
yeah.
that
Totally
insane?
Really?
That is
Yeah,
insane.
saw it on
course.
TikTok.
Man, the game is changing.
Everything is
So
changing.
it's
Yeah.
like, hey, what's up? This is totally different.
Yeah.
Really weird.
It's
Right.
weird. It's like you get your hand on your ear. Your
It's
ear
exactly like that.
This is
Yeah,
great
like
for the
Coco
audio
Man.
audience.
My kids never talk on the phone, though.
They text.
That's it. Social media and texting.
They aren't FaceTimers? I
Not
swear,
really.
only old people like Dan's the only person that FaceTimes me.
Speaking of Dan, he is tracking down this story in L.A. right now.
Yeah, we have him on the case.
We'll see if he has any news for us before the end of the show.
Yeah, special correspondent.
Getting back to his roots.
Yes. Yeah, I wonder who his source is, because if you're breaking news, it's interesting to analyze so-called breaking news and how it emanates, because like somebody like Woj is an agent for agents. And,
Yes.
and I don't even mean that as a criticism.
No.
But chances are very good that his source is an agent of some sort,
I would place that at 100%.
or close to it.
Yes.
Back in the day, you would assume that the source was somebody connected with the team, a GM you knew very well or something like that. But that's not the way it operates now. If your best source is Drew Rosenhaus, just to pick an agent's name at random, you're in much better shape than if your source is Chris Greer, the Dolphins GM.
No doubt.
He's not going to tell you anything he doesn't want you to tell you.
Right.
The agent is going to tell you what suits him. Which is
what benefits the agent is not what benefits the team.
Right,
Yes.
exactly.
And
You're saying that like it's a good thing, but that doesn't mean you're getting the truth. Like, this agent's going to manipulate you and tell you exactly
when it
what
comes
he
to
wants you to say.
No, but Chris, your dad's right. When it comes to the player, though, you're going to get something that's closer to the truth from the agent than the actual team itself.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, because the agent's not going to flat out lie. I mean, he's not going to invent an interest in Hurley if there isn't a grain of truth.
It's the one time they tell the truth. I mean, I'm telling you. Greg's right. I mean, are we questioning Greg Cody? He's been doing this forever.
All the times John
Connor
Gruden's
McDavid,
agent said that he was in the running for this job to get him more money from Monday Night Football, that agent was lying.
Right.
That agent was just trying to get him a raise. Like, if this is like,
What is Dan Hurley making at UConn? Do we know? It's got to be somewhere, in the neighborhood of $10 million a year. Now, I know this offer, what they're preparing, people are speculating it's going to be north of $100 million. But again, if you're Dan Hurley, you've won back-to-back championships. The job is the Lakers' job. This isn't the T-Wolves or Oklahoma City. It's the Los Angeles Lakers. And if it doesn't work out, Dan Hurley could go back and pick any college job he wants.
Right.
as of January 24, Hurley earns annual salary of $5.3 million, a substantial jump from his previous salary of $2.9 back in 2018.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't trust anyone.
It is the public posturing that's different, right? Because we watch all of this stuff play out in public in a way that we didn't used to, right? When it was just breaking news in a newspaper, there weren't going to be articles about a team potentially zeroing in on this person. But now, the way to generate not only revenue, but to do your job is to sort of follow the drama all the way along, whether that's the trade deadline, whether that's a player requesting out before free agency, whether that's a player in free agency, and now the coaching cycle as well, particularly when you're talking about LeBron James and the Los Angeles Lakers and names like as sexy as LeBron or JJ Redick, where people know who they are. You want to see the drama play out. And so it doesn't even matter whether or not any of these reports are true, whether they're coming from agents, as long as you have the saga playing out in front of us, that's what matters. And you want to be first on breaking the news, but ultimately, so long as you're the first to break one angle of the story, that's kind of all that seems to matter to these publications.
Man, LeBron is playing us like a fiddle right now. We got game 1 tonight, and we are sitting here just like, who's going to be LeBron's next coach? We're dumb.
Who was that? What are you doing there?
That's us.
That's us? You're
That's
imitating us?
Oh, yes.
You could have just spoken in your normal voice, though.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
no, it doesn't work. I mean, you're right. You had to do it that way. It's a good job.
Do you guys think JJ Redick's upset?
I heard Brian Windhorst say, and I think he's as connected to this particular story as anyone because he knows this group so well. I heard him say that perhaps there's another job inside the Lakers organization for JJ Redick.
But I don't want another job. I want the head coaching job. If I'm leaving my cushy job as media and podcasting and doing stuff with LeBron.
But maybe this is a job
like,
where
I don't
JJ
need
doesn't have to leave that stuff.
an analyst.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, have you ever had a job where you're already getting another job, but you still have like those 2 weeks at the old job, and you're like, I'm getting another job. I don't really care what's going on here. Let's just hang out. Oh, that you're upset by what I do? Okay, no biggie. Whatever. I'm out of here anyway. I feel like JJ was like on that path of like the podcast. I'll do it when I get to it. No biggie. Whatever. And now that Dan Hurley's going to be the coach, he's like, damn. Okay, let me schedule another podcast. Let me call LeBron, see what's up.
I think Dan Hurley was just on their podcast.
Yeah, I think he was actually.
I think he was. I think he was on like in the last 2 weeks, and they were talking about what a great offensive mind he has. I mean,
but at the same time though, if you're JJ Redick, no matter your confidence level, you're looking at Dan Hurley's resume and you're going, you know what? If I were the Lakers, I'd probably hire him too. At least that's what the truth serum answer would be if you're JJ Redick.
why would you not hire Dan Hurley? A
Right.
guy who actually has coaching experience over J.J. Redick, who has none, who hosts a podcast with LeBron James,
Right.
and is calling the NBA Finals tonight. I
Yeah.
mean,
It's really funny, and you could see we have the tweets, but Dan Hurley was on JJ Redick's podcast in April. It was April 19th that he was on there. And they had a really, it
was a job interview.
Intense conversation about basketball, the way JJ Redick does. And JJ Redick shares, "Oh man, I loved this part of our interview. It was so great." And in the replies to that tweet was one King James.
Oh boy.
Who said, "He's so damn good."
There it
Along
is.
with his staff, super creative with their offense. Love it.
Man.
And so it's so funny to see on JJ Redick's podcast, LeBron flirting with the idea of how much he loves Dan Hurley.
But it would stand to reason that JJ is in on this. Like, JJ's good not being the head coach. It would stand to reason just based on what we just said, right?
I mean, maybe JJ knows that he's never really been that close, so he's just enjoying
Maybe
all of
JJ
this.
doesn't want to be the head coach.
But he's just kind of enjoying, everyone
of
thinks
course
I'm
he
the next
is.
head coach.
Yes.
This is cool.
Yeah,
It's great for his profile.
It's great for his podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know about that.
Well, I've never been a head coach candidate, but, that kind of thing.
I'm sure you've been close.
You think?
If
Yeah.
we're talking coaching experience, right? Like Tyronn Lue didn't have any coaching experience. He got thrown into a bunch of teams with LeBron, won a championship, now signed a massive deal with the Clippers. Like, you don't really experience is overrated as being a coach. You could be a mediocre player and still be a decent coach.
Right. It is weird you just being like, oh, Dan Hurley, he's done it. I've seen him do it, so he's definitely better. Like, we don't know what
No,
JJ is
I'm
gonna
just
be.
saying that people were surprised this morning at Woj's report of Dan Hurley. Yet they weren't surprised when the report was JJ Redick.
Yeah.
That's
weird.
all I'm saying. I don't
Right.
mind if it's JJ Redick. I mean, but Dan Hurley seems to be a better fit.
I'm pretty sure Dan Hurley was at a UFC fight a few weeks ago, or maybe even this last one.
Massive
he was,
UFC
He was
fan.
shown on camera, and he was doing the 2, 3, as if he was going to go for a three-peat at UConn. So
Right. Well,
that's
he's not.
misleading. That 1, 2, 3 is a little misleading. if you're
And
a
that's
Lakers
why the kids are able to transfer whenever the hell they want. And that's why Dan and I have been saying for 20 years they should be able to transfer whenever the hell they want. Because you think you're going to play for Dan Hurley at UConn, and suddenly you're playing for JJ Redick. And suddenly Dan Hurley's not there. And so if Dan Hurley can leave and pursue his dreams, why can't you leave and pursue the school you want to go to? Go to choice number 2. Coach number 2. I do have a top 5 list of guys who have told their agents to poke around Storrs, Connecticut.
Uh-oh.
He hasn't even accepted the Laker job yet, and yet I have a bunch of agents just flocking around.
yeah.
Flocking around. Jeremy gave me a great idea. The next time a South Florida coaching job comes open, we should throw your name into the ring.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just, hey, the Miami Hurricanes are zeroing in on Greg Cody
There you
as their
go.
next
There you go.
women's basketball
Okay,
head coach.
that's going to be a big OLI if I'm on it. That's a massive
You
OLI.
never know. Throw Sam Cassell in there.
Yeah. You have
He's
to.
always in there.
You have to throw a random guy in there. Yeah,
Chris Quinn.
Yes. And Greg Cody.
By the way, let's not discount the possibility that it's Hurley's agent who is putting this out there merely to get a triple salary from UConn.
Maybe.
To go from
Steve Martin
5.3
also, yeah.
to 15 or whatever.
Right.
There's no way. There's no way you leverage. I get it if it was going to be the Orlando Magic or the Cavs or something, but you're talking about the Lakers
Right.
and using that to leverage UConn after you've just won 2 national titles. Like, what's the point of that?
to get more money out of them.
Yeah.
But you can get more money from the Lakers by just going to the
no,
Lakers.
we're saying to get more money out of UConn.
I know.
He's-
But Chris, hold on. The
UConn's
offer
gonna
that's
give you
being
$100 million?
prepared is $100 million. UConn's not giving you that.
Right, but if he's now making $7 million a year instead of $5.5, like it's just that's
but you
the
could
game
be
here.
making
Okay.
25
Right.
or 30.
Right.
But but UConn in the college realm is the Lakers, you could argue, or at least they have been recently. And if Hurley genuinely prefers coaching college basketball, which some coaches do, then maybe he is just looking for a raise from UConn. I don't discount it as a possibility. That's all.
I think something that we're not acknowledging with UConn is they did win 2 back-to-back national championships, but this will go down as one of the more dominant runs in college basketball history with how good these teams were. So you have this situation where if he comes back, the odds of a three-peat are really, really high, but there's not much else he can achieve because not only have they won 2 national titles,
Right.
they will go down as one of the best college basketball teams runs of the modern era.
No question. This makes perfect sense. If you indeed want to coach in the NBA, you've talked about it, you've expressed your desires to coach in the NBA, and the Lakers job is available with LeBron and Anthony Davis, and it's a $100 million deal, this is the time to take that opportunity. There will never be a better time for Dan Hurley. His stock will never be higher. He'll never be more coveted coming off back-to-back national championships. and it's the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Lakers, Celtics, Knicks. You take the job.
Yeah,
That's it.
that's true.
Yeah.
And you're right. Like, and the analogy would be, if you're a baseball manager and the New York Yankees job comes open, you take it no matter what because they're the New York Yankees.
Correct.
And the Lakers have that aura and mystique and history, and they always will.
A fun kind of hypothetical here is we're just assuming that this is all for LeBron. And, of course, he's making himself the center of attention before the NBA
It's
Finals,
amazing.
blah, blah, blah.
The fact that he could still do this at the age
it's
of
amazing.
39.
We're letting him do it.
But
There's a game
we're
being
doing
played
it.
tonight.
We just
And
did
we're the
20
ones
minutes.
doing it.
We just did 20 minutes on him.
But the hypothetical that's interesting is, well, what if J.J. Redick is LeBron's guy? And what if he was all along? And the way that Woj has positioned this with the zeroing in or wherever we are, in his thread on Twitter, you know, he's talking about not only the tactical advantage that someone like Dan Hurley presents, but also his player development, which doesn't sound like what you want to build around a 40-year-old LeBron James. So
No, he's
what
taking
if,
care of his son.
What
That's
if
what he's
it's
doing.
that,
Yeah.
or if LeBron doesn't intend to stay in Los Angeles and he and J.J. Redick are a package deal, potentially going somewhere else,
Wow.
like Cleveland, that maybe is moving their stars with Clutch Management's own Darius Garland
And
sort of being
Bickerstaff is
floated
out,
there.
right?
And Bickerstaff is out. And
Jeremy,
maybe not
that's
just
played out,
Cleveland.
though. That's he was going to go back to Cleveland after he already went back to
No,
Cleveland.
but Tony,
To
think
end
about
his
it.
career and bring Bronny with him?
Cleveland's favorite son comes home with his son.
Again?
Come on.
Yeah.
Yeah, again. He does whatever he wants. Maybe not Cleveland. Maybe anywhere else.
Maybe
but
the Knicks.
idea,
Miami.
The
Now we're
idea.
talking.
Well, no,
Everyone
they have a
wants
head
him.
coach.
He's 39,
Yeah, go over there.
and he comes with a kid who we're not certain if he's going to be good in the NBA, and he comes with a coach who's never coached before.
JJ could be Spo's coach in waiting.
I'll take him. I would fire Tom Thibodeau tomorrow.
What you just got done saying JJ might not be a good coach.
I don't care. LeBron's a great player.
And will be forever. Never getting old, that guy.
Chris, why were you yelling at us? By the way, we will break all of this down with Donnie Wahlberg. About 20 minutes. Why were you yelling? I can't speak. Why were you yelling at me and your dad because of agents and lying? Like,
Just because
you did it in our headsets. It was weird. Like,
I mean, it's just because you guys are like, you guys did a thing a couple minutes ago where you're just like, what do you mean? The agent's definitely telling you. And I just feel like if there's anyone in this scenario, GMs, agents, players, like we should be trusting agents the least.
Well, everybody in sports has an ulterior motive.
Right, but you guys decided that the agent is the one that is definitely telling the truth. It's like, no, everyone's lying for their own interest, and
Right.
we need to be skeptical of
well,
everyone.
Chris, who do you think wants this news out there?
His agent, so he can get more money with UConn or get this job.
Or
if
get
it's
the
a real
job,
thing.
right.
Like,
That's why I think you're closest to the truth in this case. I understand what you're saying, but you're closest to the truth when you go to the agent on this. That's all I'm saying. Again, Donnie Wahlberg.
The one thing we can all agree on is that LeBron James's hands are all over anything that's about to happen.
Yes.
Whether it's the next Lakers coach, whether it's his own career move, whether it involves Bronny, whether it doesn't, LeBron is steering this entire conversation.
Do you guys want my top 5 guys who have already contacted their agents and their agents are already poking around Stores, Connecticut?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Sure, why not?
Oh, well, I have one. Not Greg Popovich. Want to be a D3 coach. Hell out of here. Number 5, J.J. Redick. Maybe. Number 4, Bobby Hurley. Number 3, he's just taking a poke around. He's great on TV. He looks a million years younger than he did when he was coaching. Jay Wright. Has to be.
He looks so
Interesting.
good.
Interesting.
Number 2. Now, we'll have to wait, because he can't go out during the daylight hours. But I promise you, his agent knows what to do when the UConn job comes open. Rick Pitino.
Yeah.
Hop, skip, and a jump from the Johnnies.
And number 1. I don't care that he hasn't coached the game at Arkansas. I don't care. I do not care. And if you think he cares, you don't know him. He will leave that job without coaching a game. He will take all of their money, and he will be the next head coach at UConn. And that, of course, is John Calipari.
Good list. It's a good list.
Thank you.
Good list.
Perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah, good list.
Appreciate it.
No notes.
We'll talk about it with Donnie Wahlberg. All right, we'll get back to LeBron James, the whole Lakers situation, but there's a bigger situation going on with this show and in sports in general. And it's not the NBA Finals, which tips off tonight. It is not the Panthers playing in the Stanley Cup Finals, which will get underway on Saturday. It is Greg Cody's feud with Canada. For those of you who missed it, Greg Cody wrote in a column that Connor McDavid is overrated.
Now he's an underachiever. He said that yesterday.
Yeah, he's both.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Classic underachiever.
Right.
Yeah. So Canada, after Greg wrote this and talked about it on the show, Canada was very upset. Let's play that clip.
Is this the most ridiculous hot take ever?
This is Mick ridiculous. Absolutely. Listen, I'm all about clickbait, reader engagement, pandering to the home crowd. I get that. And maybe it's working because here we are talking about it, so it's mission accomplished. But like, if you know anything about hockey, and I'm assuming Greg might, you know that one player, no matter how great he is, cannot get it done and win a Stanley Cup on his own. Not McDavid, not anybody. But McDavid clearly is the greatest player in the game. He is generational. He's one of the best offensive players in the history of the game already. He has proven that beyond a shadow of a doubt. So, Greg, I'm sorry. This is preposterous, outrageous, ridiculous, and just flat out wrong. So I know the Miami crowd might eat it up going up against McDavid, but if you're a hockey writer, some point you're going to look back at this article, this headline, and say, that was not my finest journalistic moment, because this is just ridiculous and wrong.
Jury is still out on that. We will find out together whether or not it was your finest journalistic moment.
That's right.
What has happened since then?
Greg.
It's my favorite part of it.
Greg.
Well, the Greg Cody Show podcast put out a bee sting.
What?
Yeah, we call it a bee sting. It's BEE stands for bonus emergency episode. Okay, because I couldn't.
Does everything need
Genius.
a name?
Does
Yes.
Sting mean anything or no?
Yeah,
It's just bee sting, that kind of thing.
I like it.
But
Now, did you back down at all, or did you double down?
I'll let you be the judge of that.
We do have a clip here. Let's see if my dad doubled down or if he backed off a little bit.
Oh, Canada, so sad I riled you up. Sad that Connor McDavid, for all his stats, has not lived up. Sad that your McJesus has never raised the Stanley Cup.
All right.
What are you
He
doing?
doubled down.
Bravo.
I'm not going to back down. I mean, come on. It's a one-sided feud. Canada hates me. I love Canada.
Right.
My name is Cote. It's a popular name in French-speaking Canada.
Is it?
Yeah, and, I'm one of them. I love Canada. I've visited there. Visited Vancouver, Montreal, Quebec. I mean, it's a great city. a
Cote
great
is
country.
the fourth highest used surname in Quebec.
Right.
Greg.
Thank you,
So-
Jeremy.
I mean, you're basically
Big stat.
Canadian. I mean,
Yeah, basically, I have French-Canadian ancestry.
Right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
little St.
My-
Catherine Street. I mean,
My Aunt Arlene used to sing Robert Goulet songs in France when I was growing up in the kitchen. She'd be singing a song in French. I'm like, what are you doing, Auntie Arlene? So, yeah, I'm part French. I'm part Canadian. There you go, eh?
is that what she did?
That's right.
Sang Robert
Yeah.
Goulet.
Can we hear what it sounded like?
If I knew any French, I'd start singing right now like she did. Is he, comment ça va? Ça va bien. No. Okay.
Oui.
That's it. Right. How about that?
Was that the entire episode?
No, well, it's
Just him singing and then they close it
I
off.
know.
I try to defend McDavid a little bit because
Yeah.
it's such
Why?
a ridiculous take.
Just to balance it out?
Yeah.
A bee sting is a short episode. I think it was 10, 12 minutes long. But basically, I just explained my opinion, which I'll never back down from because I think the opinion is accurate. I don't think you can be McJesus and the next great thing in hockey if you go 9 years without winning a Stanley Cup. That's all.
Alexander Ovechkin took 13 years to win his.
Yeah, but
Okay,
if
but
Greg,
he did,
but
right? He
if the
won.
Capitals played the Panthers 10 years into his career, Greg would have written the same article about him. I mean,
I think it's
think.
I think it's unequivocal Okay, that's why to use an American example, that's why Dan Marino's never going to be considered the best quarterback because he didn't win a Super Bowl.
Correct. Yes.
And there's no guarantee that that McDavid is ever going to win a Stanley Cup. He's not the favorite to do it right now, and this is his first chance in 9 years. So the assumption that he's automatically going to win a Stanley Cup is not on solid ground, and the idea that he won't disqualifies him from being considered the greatest player ever. That's my point.
I'm just saying, if you wrote about Ray Bork and him taking 21 years to actually win a Stanley Cup, would you have done the same thing there?
Would I have? Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah.
But Ray Bork didn't. He had to move to Colorado to get his Stanley Cup, which it doesn't count in my personal record. But
I think
course not.
do it in Boston. Stugotz booked
21 seasons, I mean, that's a lot of juice for that he's overrated column to just keep going back every single year.
You know what? I think it's a prerequisite. I think unless you win a Stanley Cup, dare say multiple Stanley Cups, you are out of the conversation for greatest ever. And the idea that
You're right.
Connor McDavid would be this consensus greatest player in hockey right now, presumably the next Gretzky, if I dare say that, you have to win a Stanley Cup. And he hasn't in 9 years. And until he does, I'm not having it with McDavid is the best ever. That's all. I'm not saying I'm right, but that's my opinion, and I'm sticking to it.
You really just are putting yourself out there because you're putting yourself.
It's very brave when you think about it. He's Canadian, and he's saying this about the Edmonton Oilers.
If the Oilers,
he's got to go home eventually.
If the Oilers win this series, Panther fans of this show, we are going to blame my dad for this.
Zero in on Greg Cody.
No,
We're
this
going
is
to target
interesting.
Greg Cody.
Well, hold on a second.
But-
what is the best case scenario for Greg Cody, and what is the best case scenario for the rest of this show?
If the Panthers win in 5 and McDavid gets like 1 goal in the series, my dad's going to be able to say, see, I told you I was right. So this is going to go both ways. If this is a short series for the Panthers, my dad, because
he wins.
The noise might actually start coming for McDavid if, like, hey, you're this great, you just lost in the Stanley Cup. Like, it's not a crazy take, but I would have loved the take after the series.
No, it's a great take. You have to do it before.
Well, here, my thought is, say that does happen. Say the Panthers win comfortably in 5 games, and McDavid has a fairly quiet series. I'm not going to gloat because I don't.
Oh yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Listen to the man.
You're
Hear him
out.
out.
Hear him out. Hey,
The Stugotz is strong in you.
hear the man out. He'll let others gloat for him. Go ahead, Greg.
I don't consider anything I've said to be disrespectful
What?
to Connor McDavid.
What?
I don't.
It's his opinion.
What?
It's his opinion.
Underachiever?
I have tried.
Mick underachiever.
I have tried.
He didn't say McDonough. He just said underachiever.
Okay, I have tried to make very clear that I respect all his numbers.
Right, you're playing both sides.
He's got the stats.
Let him go,
He's
man.
got the stats. He's a future Hall of Famer.
Right.
All of that stuff. He's a great player. And when I say use words like overrated and underrated, I entirely and specifically mean win a Stanley Cup. And then let's talk about you in the context of greatest ever.
Fair.
If you don't win a Stanley Cup and he's had 9 years, then you don't qualify for that conversation. That's my opinion. And it's the same with most sports. I think that's consistent with most sports.
Greg, if I can speak for you for a second, what you did was you laid the table to open the door for McDavid to be this great player.
Laid the table.
Yes.
Right? Like, that's what you did. You said, hey, he's an incredible player. Up to right now, up to this very second, he's overrated. If he shows me otherwise in the Stanley Cup final, I'm good.
Absolutely.
That's what you're doing. You're just
100%.
laying the table for everybody.
Yes, thank you.
I think you lay groundwork and you set a table.
I think you're right. Yeah.
it doesn't
The
matter.
table is set.
I think it does.
I got the point,
That
though,
kind of
but-
thing.
But you're right.
Yeah.
I'm
yes.
opening the door and inviting you into the table.
Let's all
Have
lay
a
the
beautiful
table.
meal.
Right. So the best case scenario for Greg is that the Panthers sweep. They win in 5. McDavid does nothing. He wins. Okay. He doesn't have to say another word. All right.
If the Oilers win in 5 and
Right.
McDavid scores 3 goals a game,
If the Oilers
I'm
win
going
and
to
McDavid,
murder my dad.
Seems illegal.
you won't have to. I mean,
Panthers fans will do that for you.
yes.
You know what that attitude is like? Okay, this is 100% superstition. The idea that anything I write or say would actually have a palpable effect on how the series turns out is ridiculous.
Wait, let's stop right there for a second. Do you guys think that in the last 48 hours, somebody or him himself, that the word overrated, a writer in Miami Like, is McDavid aware that somebody has called him overrated?
100%.
I mean, the entire country is talking about it.
That's why, like, is he watching SportsCenter? Like, did he watch this Mike Johnson hit? Like, I don't know, because I could see a guy like that just totally turning off.
In the social media age, there is no way Connor McDavid has not learned of Greg Cody's opinion on Connor McDavid.
Okay,
there's no way.
And here's my question: Does the great Connor McDavid, about to play in his first career Stanley Cup final,
need more motivation?
Need the extra motivation of what some guy in Miami wrote? I hope not, for his sake.
Mm-hmm. What if it did?
Attaboy.
But what if it did?
I have someone going and getting a print copy of the Miami Herald with your column and physically putting it on a corkboard in the practice room.
The old bulletin board.
Yeah, the bulletin board material.
You guys
quite
don't
literally.
understand. Nothing would make Greg happier if that were the case. I mean,
That would be huge.
You would love that, right?
You know what? I don't believe in sports superstition. Okay, if my guy's pitching a no-hitter into the seventh inning,
You better not say a
I'm gonna
damn
say,
word.
Hey, McGillicuddy's got a no-hitter going. Did you know that? It's not going to affect him on the mound because I say it in my living room. It's just not.
Hey, 6 outs to go.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Superstition. Come on.
You're right. If McDavid is paying attention to your opinions on Connor McDavid, that A, it lends to your point. B, focus on the cup.
He should be the most motivated athlete on earth right now because I guarantee you this, McDavid knows what I'm talking about. He knows that until he wins a Stanley Cup, something is missing, and it's something huge on his resume. Dan Marino never got over it.
Nope.
And neither will Conor McGregor unless he...
Conor McGregor?
I mean,
Also, no,
doesn't
Greg's
matter.
right. Greg's also right because Conor McGregor, we're still trying to see if he's in 303. Ariel says he is now. All of a
mixing
sudden,
up
he
my,
wasn't. Now
He
he's
won
back.
a
He's gotta fight.
championship.
What a great point.
Transition.
Tony and I were laughing because, Chris, you have to give the take before the series. You
Yes.
can't let
Not
the
when I'm an emotional Panthers fan.
No,
I
time
get
out.
it.
Hear me out. You can't let the series play out and then give the take that everyone else is giving. Greg is ahead of everyone on this take. And it begs the question. The NBA Finals tip off tonight. Do you want to do this again? Do you want to call someone out? Your choices are Tatum or Luka, I think.
Yeah.
Right. It's up to you. If you don't do it, I will.
Greg Cody saying that he's not going to gloat if the Panthers win this series and McDavid is invisible. Like, you are going to gloat.
okay, if the Panthers
You're going
win-
to retweet the article and say, see?
If the Panthers win this series, I'm going to be writing about the Panthers winning their first Stanley Cup in 30 years.
That's right.
You're saying if
On a parade float.
You're saying if McDavid has a less than par series, even though in golf less than par is good,
Right.
Over.
are you going to write
Lay
the
the
word Mick overrated in your synopsis of the series?
It's a possibility. It's a possibility. Mostly I'm going to write in that scenario, it's probably because Bob had another knockout series and was lights out at the net. And just the way he shut down the New York Rangers' big three.
Well, it was the Panthers' defense, not necessarily Bob.
Okay, but the point is they're capable of doing that against McDavid.
Yes.
They are. I think they are. Maybe they'll prove me wrong, but I have that much faith in the Panthers' defense. And, good luck to McDavid. May the best team win, blah, blah, blah.
Greg is hoping that Connor proves him wrong, right? I mean, of course. Right?
Let's not go that far. Let's not go that far. No.
Guys, there's a lot of great feelings in the world, but I want to put this up to the group here and see, is there a better feeling than when you're in a public setting and you see somebody that you know, that you're friends with, and you see them from across the way, they don't see you. Your first idea is, I'm going to scare the shit out of this person. Is there a better feeling than, so me and Lewis were on the train.
Are you saying this is the best feeling of all the feelings?
I'm putting it to the group, saying, is this a great feeling? Is this a top 5 feeling, top 10? Where are we with this feeling? Because me and Lewis were on the Metro Mover together. I knew you were coming, though. It's different. I saw you.
Yeah.
The point is, if I didn't see you.
Right. The element of
sense, right?
surprise. Very
Surprise,
important
yeah.
when you're trying to scare someone.
Exactly,
Yes.
yeah.
Right.
There's a window here.
Trying to be wacky.
Good attempt. I know. I know what you were trying to do.
So me and Lewis were on the Metro Mover together. He didn't see me. He walked out of one door. I walked out of another door behind him about 10 feet. So in my mind, I'm like, all right, I've got about 7 seconds to really like speed up the pace, walk behind him, and I got to figure out what I'm going to do to him. Do I take his phone? Do I take his hat? Do I just stand behind him menacingly? So I chose stand behind him menacingly because we were on a platform. I didn't want him to like run and then fall off the platform. God forbid, he's got 3 kids. You know, that kind of thing. So I walk behind him at a quick pace, and I'm a pretty fast speed walker, got long legs. So I'm walking up to him, and I'm just sitting like here, like just. I take a big, deep breath behind his ear, and he turned around with shock. Just like, ah. But the face, I just have it like cemented in my mind. The face of terror as he turns around, feeling this hot breath behind him. Is there a better feeling than scaring your friend when they don't see it coming?
What is the age limit on this? Because like my
grown-ass man.
my entire life I've enjoyed scaring my dad, but he's reached an age where I can't do it anymore. 'Cause
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't wanna, you know.
It might be the last time.
Right.
Yes.
I was about to say that I think that's an age group thing.
What is the age? What is the age we have to start worrying about, you know, someone dying of a heart attack when I scare them? 55?
I think when you've
Younger.
when you've buried
Younger.
when you've buried at least 3 or 4 friends, I think that you've reached an age where heart attacks come into the conversation.
I'm sorry for bringing this here.
Yeah.
No, I have a question though.
This is bad.
I have a
This is
scientific
your
question.
fault, too, by the
I
way,
have a
Tony.
scientific question. Do we know that jump scares are correlated with coronary situations? Do we have that data?
Okay,
I'm on it.
I don't have that data, but I can tell you this: if I'm going up to a guy in an airport, a friend of mine, and he doesn't see me, and he's my age, the last thing on earth I'm going to go up to him is go behind him and go, "Hey!" I'm just not going to do it.
No scream though. How about like a breath, like a
That'd be a little creepy.
creepy, but not again. You didn't scare him. It was just,
Yeah.
or like a little ass grab. Hey, whoa!
Yeah, but at
What was
Greg's
that?
age, to do it to someone his age would be weird. I could see you doing it to Lewis, but Greg doing it would be odd,
Yeah,
right?
and then a cop sees me and he's like getting on me for like assaulting this guy, and I'm like, no, we know each other. Seriously.
It's Dave Hyde.
I'm reading on UABmedicine.org, The Science of Fear. Adrenaline also triggers perspiration and rapidly sends blood to major muscle groups. In rare cases, an extreme response to a highly dangerous or life-threatening situation can cause a cardiac event that ends in death.
But very rare, you said?
It is
Extreme
rare.
cases, very rare. So
Right.
I feel like we're good.
Heart.org says
Tony
pre-existing
coulda-
conditions.
Tony could have killed Lewis.
You
How
could
about
have.
that?
I would never.
Would have went from a great feeling to a horrible feeling.
He would have been
I mean,
fine
can you
with it, but he
imagine?
has 3 kids.
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, because then I take the responsibility of having the 3 kids,
That's
and it
true.
was me. So like,
I don't think the
all of a
person
sudden-
who kills the person gets responsibility.
No,
for
I know, but
that.
I would
think that's how
feel
it works.
responsible
No.
for it, so I would have to assume responsibility. You know, that kind of.
I've
thing.
never been one that likes to scare my friends or anyone for that matter, and I don't like to be scared. So for me, it's not one of the best feelings in the world. Are you saying this is the best feeling that...
I'm saying it's a good feeling when you can scare a friend that doesn't see it coming from the scarer's point of view.
I feel like Tony just stumbled into something. If you make a punishment for killing someone that you have to take over all their kids, I feel like we'd see a downtick in murder. Yeah. Like if I wanted to kill Lewis, but I'm like, man, I got to take his 3 kids if I do.
That's exhausting.
And then I would
so you don't
not
go to,
kill him.
You don't go to prison, you just get his kids?
Right.
Another side avenue of this.
What would you take? Put it on the poll. Prison or someone else's kids?
Wow. It's a close call.
I know.
A side avenue of this is if you scare somebody to death, I think that would be tough to prosecute. Like, I don't know if you're liable.
Not what you know, what you can prove in court.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I got behind him and I said,
Pre-existing
boo.
condition.
I said, boo.
I was scared too. Someone scared me, and my fear, like, you know, I feel like we can get out of this.
Be tough to prosecute.
You have a domino effect?
Yeah.
Tony scares you, you scare your dad. What's the matter with you?
We're having fun.
I never thought of it as a top 5 feeling for me.
Top 10?
Top 10?
Yeah,
It wouldn't be in my top 10.
I never thought of that as like something that's fun to do.
Well, I'm bringing it to you guys. So
Yeah.
just ponder.
All right,
just
I'm
put it in
gonna
the
think
file.
about it.
Think
Yeah.
about it.
If someone were to come up to me, even if it were a friend, and like grab me behind the back or like whisper or something, my first thought is murder. Yeah. My first thought is I'm going to a dungeon somewhere. So it's not as fun. I don't think it's like a girl thing. I think like a top 5 feeling is like not scaring your friend, but when you're on the train or in an airport and you see someone you know and you get to be like, hey, that's a top feeling. But scaring itself, I'm too paranoid. I watch too much SVU for that. And let me tell you, SVU could convict
Really?
on the Scared to
Really?
Death. I know they could do it.
Is
They're
that
a great
true?
team. No, it's a TV show, but they would do it.
Yeah,
They would do it well.
I gotta talk to a lawyer wife of mine and see what she says about that. Even though she's not a criminal lawyer,
Right.
but
But
criminal
she
attorney,
knows.
but
Yeah.
she would have a sense of that.
My favorite thing to do in this similar vein of like, oh, I'm on a train and I see my friend. Instead of scaring them, I'm gonna text them and see what their reaction is to my text.
Oh,
Really?
If I see them look at it and then they put it back in their pocket, they're a jerk. Like I'm assessing how they
They
react.
have no idea that you're
Maybe
on.
I'll call them too. It's like,
Yes.
oh, put it on mute.
Right.
Oh, you mute my call and I'm looking at you doing it.
Right.
No more calls for you.
What do you text them?
You got them.
See,
Nice shirt, dork.
well, see, that's the thing.
That's a
I
good
could. I
one.
sometimes it depends. I might do a I'm looking at you type thing, and then they're just like, then you
I'm
get
looking
this.
at you as worse than breathing behind somebody's
No, but then
neck.
then they look and they get this creepy like, where are you? Or you could just text them, hey, what's up? How's it going? Because that's when I'm really just trying to assess.
There is major risk to this potentially scaring someone to death because there's an example here of jurors convicting Willie Ingram in 1982 after 64-year-old Melvin Cooper died of a heart attack in his New York home caused by what medical experts said was the emotional upset of a robbery attempt. So because that guy ended up having a heart attack when someone went to rob his home, they
Right.
charged him with murder.
Bad public defender there.
Well, he was doing something illegal.
Hold
at
on
the
a second.
time, so
What do
that
you
didn't
mean?
help either.
How would you defend that case, Tony?
You're telling me that I went to rob somebody in the emotional distress. Now I'm in for what was it? Murder? Was that the official charge?
Yes.
Bad lawyer.
You went
there.
in there with no intention of murdering anybody. You just wanted to steal their stuff. But as a result, the person had a heart attack. And you're saying that you would get that person off of murder?
Absolutely. Again, it's 1982, guys.
It seems like a slam dunk
totally
case. I'm with
different
you.
time.
There's a difference between saying boo and robbing somebody in this situation here, Stugotz. I mean, you're doing something illegal.
No, I understand that. But Tony's saying that's he had a bad attorney.
Bad
It's
attorney
funny.
there. Bad attorney.
Because I think he's kind of right. Like, the guy went in there with no intention of killing anyone.
It doesn't matter.
He just wanted a few bucks.
That doesn't matter.
Well,
I mean, armed robberies sometimes result in
He was
death,
armed.
too. Well, no. I'm just saying there's plenty of examples of someone going to rob someone's home, but they have a gun on them,
Right.
and then the person's home, and it leads to someone being shot and killed, and then there's a murder charge. So in this case,
Not what happened here, Your Honor.
this is scared to death.
My client
It's a good point.
completely innocent.
In the realm of people dying from getting scared, where do surprise birthday parties fall into this? Oh man! Because let's say 60-year-old surprise party for someone's 60th birthday.
So
they
who
walk
gets-
in,
right.
surprise, and they go.
I bet in history that's happened.
I'm
Who's
sure
to
it
blame?
has.
The person that planned the party, the person that yelled surprise the loudest. Like who's getting convicted? here?
everyone who yelled surprise.
Guy who turned the lights on.
Quite the murder
Yeah.
mystery. Imagine this. Imagine that episode of CSI. Who do we blame?
I bet that has happened.
By the way, the thing that you were discussing on the plane, what you would do, sending a text, that actually happened to me recently. Kind of.
Where someone's like, "Hey, I see you."
On the way to the NFL draft, I am sitting in front, like 3 rows in front of 2 very good friends of mine. I didn't know it at the time. So I got up, I went to the bathroom. I took my time in that bathroom.
Didn't notice walking back. You didn't notice them.
I did not
I guess
notice
you're not
that.
really
There's a lot of people on a plane when
Yeah,
you're
you can't
walking
notice
down and you're
everyone.
like the center of attention. It's hard to look at people's faces
Yeah.
and like distinguish faces when you're walking in a plane of 300 people.
Yep, agreed.
I'm going to be honest here. It was
You
a
were high.
curtain.
Oh. First class.
It was separating us. So I
You had
didn't.
your own bathroom.
I did, yes. They sent me a text. One of them did, saying, "My God, how long did you spend in that bathroom? You tore that thing up." I responded to him, "Are you on the plane?" He said, "No. It's all over social media."
What?
Great answer.
It was a great answer.
Yeah.
And so I started sweating. They saw me. They watched the entire thing. I am checking Twitter. I'm on my phone. I am freaking out. And they couldn't let the joke go longer than 5 minutes. So finally they text me. They said, "Hey, idiot, we're 3 or 4 rows behind you, behind the curtain."
That's good. That's a good prank.
It was a good job by them.
I will say, though, in your defense, there's no bathroom I spend more time in without pooping than a bathroom on a plane. I use that. Yeah. It's a little alone time.
I just want to stand.
It's just like, I'm going to stand in here. I might stare at myself in the mirror for like a full minute.
Really?
In the airplane.
I'll have like a staring contest with myself. I'm just not ready to go back unless I know there's a line behind me. If I don't feel like there's a line, I'm just like, this is my alone time. I'm going to stretch out a little bit. I'm going to stretch.
You can stretch inside of that little bathroom?
Get my hands up a little. Like, you're right. It's not a full stretch, but I'm just like, I enjoy it. It's a little me time.
I rarely go to the bathroom on planes. Rarely. Like, I'll hold it. I won't drink water. Like, I'll do anything. Because when I get in those little bathrooms, I'm literally like, I'm literally like this.
Yeah, you gotta hover.
And like, I can't, like, the door almost like closes on my ass from how tight it is. So I'm like trying to maneuver around.
Everything in there is terrible. Like the button to push the thing, and there's like a 14-second delay. You push it, and it's like, oh, it didn't work. And then 10 seconds later, and then it's like, I want to throw this little.
It almost takes you with it.
I want to throw this paper towel away, and it's like the worst designed door ever. It like doesn't push in.
It's like Tommy Boy.
There's always stuff.
So you spend more time in this place.
I'm just assessing everything. The water is like this, like you push down on this thing. It's like this, like 3 drops of water for like 6 seconds.
I'm in and out of that bathroom ASAP because I know if I'm in there more than like 20 seconds, everybody on the plane is going, well, that guy's taking a crap.
Nah, I don't think
Look
about
how
that.
long he's been in there. That guy's taking a crap. And then they all look at you when you walk out. You do the walk of shame down the aisle.
Nobody's looking at you.
Yeah, everybody, the whole plane's looking at you. They know.
Everyone on the plane talks.
Yeah, of course.
I was on a plane coming back from the NHL All-Star game. I went out of the bathroom, and I stumbled right into Sergei Bobrovsky. I was like, uh-oh.
Wow.
Amazing.
Like, uh-oh. Like, oh, is he going to judge me here? Like, uh-oh.
What'd you hit him with? What's up, Bob?
Yeah. I was like, Bob.
Who's the most famous person you've ever seen on a plane?
That would be Bob.
Bob McAdoo. Funny enough.
Oh, a different Bob.
Flight to Europe. Bob McAdoo.
Is he doing a crossword puzzle?
We've got a big-time classic guest in the chat room today. It's the man with the best mustache in the business, journalist Geraldo Rivera. Enjoy this throwback from the Dan Le Batard Show with Stugotz.
Let's do it this way, Geraldo. You make what? I mean, there are elements of you. I don't think most people know that you're a great journalist. I think a lot of people think you have a lot of punchline to you. What would you go back and do differently in your style? What choice do you regret making?
I don't, at this stage of my life, it's almost like time travel. You don't want to go back and mess with anything because it changes everything. It was almost like every serendipitous encounter led to something. I don't believe that everything happens for a reason, but I believe that there are no accidents in long-term success. In other words, if you let the incident du jour or the scandal du jour knock you out, it's because there wasn't much there to begin with.
What is a fair criticism that you've read of yourself? For example, I get criticized. My tone can be obnoxious, strident. I get in my own way. My message gets diluted.
Let's make a deal here. If you want to hear criticism of Geraldo, ask somebody else.
Okay.
Ask Ann Coulter. She's on my show every night.
Okay, fair enough. So
she lets me have it at a regular basis.
I just don't think
I have enough detractors that I don't have to help fuel their fire.
The mustache is impeccable, though.
You know, my mustache is 41 years old. It's older than my wife.
It doesn't look over 35.
I won the ESPN Mustache Award last year. I was very proud. I didn't even know I was into the contest.
Whose mustache do you look at and say that guy's got a better mustache than I do?
Well, I always liked Tom Selleck's, but I don't think he has one anymore. I think he goes both ways, not me. The closest I came to shaving it was when I bet that if Michael Jackson was convicted, I would shave my mustache because I was so certain he was being framed in that case that he would be acquitted. That was as close as I came to shaving it. But my dad had one. My dad had one of those little pencil jobs. He was a big Desi Arnaz fan.
Outside of O.J. Simpson, who is someone that you have developed an outsized hate for?
A real loathing?
Yes.
Yeah, that's an excellent and nasty question. Osama bin Laden has been my personal boogeyman ever since the towers. I've chased him around the world. I chased him to the Sudan. I chased him all through Afghanistan and the Pakistan and the tribal territories. And he's come to embody, to me, a man who has wrecked the reputation of the group that he professes to be fighting for. And jump cut, I also feel not nearly in as visceral a way, but in a way where I have deep discontent for the ideologues who are, I think, dividing our country now, and I believe are reinvigorating the whole race issue in a way that I find deeply disturbing. I think the immigration issue is part of it, but I think the black president is also part of it. I just believe that there are people going for the short money and seeking to exploit our divisions rather than in any way trying to say, hey, why can't we all get along?
What's the most dangerous situation you have found yourself in?
Spend time with Charlie Manson in San Quentin. Spending time with that psycho. And in a way, he's far more disturbing. O.J. Simpson, when you strip it down, I believe that that was a rage killing. He killed his wife and her friend, Ron Goldman, because he was filled with jealous rage. Jealous rage is, while lamentable, perhaps, lamentable, period, is at least there is some sick logic to it. But Charlie Manson, I mean, his what he did getting upper middle class college educated kids to take Sharon Tate, hang her by her heels, and slit open her pregnant belly. I mean, that's because he wanted to start a race war. I mean, that's there's some stuff out there. And I've talked to, I've interviewed terrorists in prisons around the world, and the kind of the way they have zero conscience. I guess that's I think that values can be so distorted that some sick stuff can happen.
The most interesting thing, and there was very much interesting in this interview, we're going to let you go, but Geraldo Rivera, you see how he threw in there, my mustache is older than my wife, right? I mean, that was
Yes.
delightful right there.
Great line.
That's a great sentence you put together there, Geraldo.
And how many men could say that?
No, not many, my friend. Take care. Good talking to you.
Good talking to you guys.
Donnie Wahlberg has been pushed back. He will join us hopefully in about 15 to 20 minutes. It's a bit late. The Celtics and the Mavericks, game 1 is tonight. Donnie Wahlberg, a big Celtics fan. I want to get Greg's thoughts here on the series in just a second. But first, I am told that we have a new segment, I believe. It's never been done before, at least not when I'm here. A Greg Cody of the day. Jeremy, take it away.
Yeah, so we have our Greg Cody of the day, and it comes from the world of the NFL crossing over sports. So Greg Cody often thinks he can do some things in sports that are questionable. And we have an example here of Micah Parsons. He and CJ Stroud have been creating content together in the offseason, and Micah Parsons has some lofty takes on how he thinks he could do on the baseball field.
He played in 162 MLB games, 5 at-bats every game. How many hits do you think you could get?
I think I get about 200. No. The pitchers are not good. You might get 25, 30. 162. That ain't right. Penn State education. His math is terrible. Hold on, let me do the percentages because I think I can go about 200. Oh, he's crazy. Like average 200. You're gonna average 200? Like in a season, like I have. We're gonna give you an Astro jersey.
179 last year.
That was a bad year for him. No. What's his average? No, what was his average though? See, that's what I'm saying. I think I could be about 180 to 200. Delusion at its finest, ladies and gentlemen. Delusion at its finest.
How many hits per season?
At a 800 bats, I think I could get 100. Maybe 20. Probably like 10. Lucky ones. Fly ball. Remember, he's not good at anything besides throwing the ball. No other athleticism. Not bowling. You don't want to see me in bowl. I'm nice. I got a ball too. Me too. Yeah, we can do what you want to do. We could bet 1,000 a game. We could do it.
Micah Parsons has no shot of hitting 200 in the major leagues. And what's crazy is at first he starts out by saying he thinks he could get 200 hits in a season, which is like...
In his defense, I think the whole time he meant a 200
right.
average.
200
but when
average,
he corrects himself to say 200 average, Micah Parsons has a 0% chance of hitting 200 in a major league season. That's insane. And I've seen video of him like hitting home runs in batting practice for charity events and things like that. So I understand why someone of his athleticism who is capable of hitting a baseball coming at him would think he could hit 200. That is an insane thing to say. I actually, not to make myself the Greg Cody of the day.
Jeremy was a pitcher in high school.
I was a pitcher in high school.
I think we put Micah up against Jeremy.
I don't think he could hit 200 off of me in a full season's worth of at-bats.
Whoa,
really?
If we went 162 days in a row where Micah Parsons got 5 at-bats off of me, I don't think he could hit 200.
I think we do this one day because we're not going to get him for 162 days. We get Micah Parsons out here, 10 at-bats. You got to get 2 hits.
All right. I don't think he could do it.
I think he could.
Genuinely, me right now. I'm not even saying the me in high school that was actually prepared to do this. I'm saying me right now.
Chris, you don't think Micah has 162 days for us?
No, I don't.
Okay. That's a good call by you. Yes.
But I think we can get him for 1.
Do you think Greg could get a single hit off of you?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
He follows me on Twitter, by the way.
Who?
Micah Parsons.
Oh, I thought you meant me.
Hot whistle.
Look at
me, Louie.
Yeah, seriously.
Hit it.
Look at me, Louie.
You were saying, Greg?
I'll DM him.
I think the backstory is important here. Like, if Micah Parsons was the star of his high school team and has played the sport,
that's different.
You combine that with his athleticism and his speed, I give him a shot to hit 200.
In Major League Baseball
yes,
or off of me?
Yeah, in Major League Baseball.
God, I just don't think that...
What are you talking about?
Even if he was the star, if he hit 538 in high school.
What Christopher doesn't realize is guys like Micah Parsons and most of these guys, they dominated like 3 sports in high school.
Yeah.
Yes.
Right.
So he may have been a baseball player is what you're saying. If he was, you could see it happening.
I think athleticism goes a long way. If you're a successful professional athlete in football who has played baseball, I think you have a chance to hit 200. I do.
Here, if you want to look now, I don't know how they got this, but we have some stat thing where Jeremy's ahead of Jesus Luzardo.
That's true. Look, we don't have to...
You know how they got that. Jeremy sent it to him.
I didn't send it. They got it from my Twitter. No, this was actually after, ironically, Sean Anderson, who pitched at American Heritage down here, recently became a Miami Marlins. So now there are 2 pitchers who I pitched against in high school who are members of the Miami Marlins in Sean Anderson and Jesus Luzardo. These stats would indicate Micah Parsons might have a tough time. And I know that sounds insane, But
when was the last time you threw a baseball?
I don't know, like a year and a half ago.
Pitched from the mound?
Yeah, like from the mound.
Yeah, because you're talking about
2-3 years ago.
You're talking about a supreme athlete.
Yeah.
Who would probably take you yard if you're throwing 60 noodle arms.
His knees are going to buckle at my curveball.
Hole in his swing.
Look, I think I agree with Greg wholeheartedly that if Micah Parsons was a multi-sport athlete in high school who like legitimately played baseball, then I'm not having this conversation about myself. I still don't think he could hit 200 in Major League Baseball just picking up a bat and going out there. You got to remember, like the average Major League hitter these days is not someone who's hitting like 280 or 290.
Right.
The average guy's probably hitting 240, 250. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. Batting averages are way down. The idea that Micah Parsons would just show up and hit 200 is patently insane.
He played basketball. He did not play baseball in high school. He was a great basketball player in high school. He also was a great running back.
That's unsurprising.
His senior year, he had over 1,200 yards rushing and 27 rushing touchdowns.
Wow.
Oh, my senior year, I had a 1.86 ERA. So.
I wonder what the best example is of a guy like that just dominating high school. Like, they've got to be all, like, all-time greats. Probably
It's Derrick Henry.
Derrick Henry probably
Look at his stats. He's incredible.
My buddy's claim to fame is that Derrick Henry, at one point, because he was a backup quarterback on his high school team in Jacksonville, the yards per carry average leaders in their district, he was number 1 with 1 carry for 8 yards, and Derrick Henry was number 2 with 8,000 carries at 7.9 yards per carry. But on the list, you had my buddy Dimitri ahead of him.
I have DM'd my friend Micah Parsons.
Your friend.
I wrote, we have a baseball pitcher on our show. He wants to pitch to you and see if you could hit him. So we'll see if he gets
He's
back
going to
to me.
think that's like a major league pitcher, not some guy who threw in high school 10 years ago.
Tony, listen to this. Listen to this senior year for Micah Parsons. It might be the greatest football season of all time. Okay, he had 1,239 yards, 27 rushing touchdowns. He had 2 more receiving touchdowns. He had 55 tackles. Of those 55, 18 were for a loss, and he had 10.5 sacks and 1 interception.
Okay, I'll raise you Derrick Henry senior year, where he carried the ball 462 times for 4,261 yards and 55 touchdowns. That was just his senior year. He ended up running for 12,000 yards. He ran for 12,000 yards and 153 touchdowns in his high school career.
How many carries?
1,397.
Yeah,
1,400.
We're watching Derrick Henry high school highlights right now.
That's child abuse.
It is.
A guy carrying the ball 45 times a game?
Right.
That's ridiculous.
They shouldn't be blaming Mike Vrabel. I mean,
Oh, my Lord.
Jesus. Before he gets to college. How many times did he carry the ball in college?
In 3 years, he had 3,591 yards on 602 attempts. His final year at Bama, he had 395 rushing attempts. So you said what in high school?
1,400.
Which means he had
2,000
attempts.
carries. Yeah.
He had 2,000 carries between high school and college before getting to the NFL.
He might be the greatest running back of all time.
That's crazy.
He might be.
Like stats combined between high school, college, and pros, he's incredible.
It's him or Micah.
And you wonder why running backs are considered old at 28.
It's
That's
crazy.
your answer.
Yeah, right. The high school coaches are abusing them.
Wow.
That is insane.
Jeremy, I am curious. What did your fastball top out at?
Here
Probably
we go.
82, 83.
Okay,
Nothing crazy.
No disrespect. I think a professional athlete gets around on that fastball.
Not when there's a curveball coming in that's buckling
Okay,
his
well,
knees,
that,
Greg.
that could be.
Look, I'm not.
What are you topping out at right now?
The old number 2.
I think
Probably like
give
74.
give me a month, and I'd be right back at 80. Oh, wow. I don't know, nothing crazy, but I still don't think like in real at bats where you're put like
I would be the umpire.
I would bet that.
Three.
I would bet that Greg. You can get your dad back. I would bet that Greg 10 at bats against you, 2 hits.
0% chance of that.
Greg?
Yeah.
Greg.
Yes, Greg.
Greg Cody.
Yep.
Maybe the other Cody.
No, Greg.
I would take that challenge.
No shot.
I might embarrass myself, but I would take that challenge as long as Jeremy promised no curveballs.
Whoa! What? I can't do that. I won't.
You got to
do
groove
that.
him in. I mean, that's what he
Groove him
wants.
in. That's not the point.
What do you mean?
Bartolo Colon home run over here. Come on.
We'll get to the NBA Finals here in a second. Greg, what is going on with Tua? Because it appears now Tua's starting to get upset. Tua upset, like, I don't get too intimidated when he's upset, because I've never really seen him that upset, but he is upset. He has every right to be. This deal is a deal that should have been done, and yet it's still not done.
Yeah.
So what's happening?
He did an interview at the mini camp a couple of days ago.
Which we have, talking about his contract. You want to listen to it?
Yeah, very strategic interview.
Was it the one where he was playing a game of fill in the blank, where people were throwing out words of how he feels, and he's like, "Yeah, I kind of feel like that." Let's listen to that here.
Not frustrated. I'm another word, but yeah.
Agitated, annoyed, bothered.
Smirked.
Just wanting to get something done. That's it. Just wanted to get something done.
What was your reaction?
Concerned?
Go ahead, Al.
Concerned? Is that?
Not concerned. Concern's not the right word. That's way off from the word.
Antsy, maybe?
Probably antsy in a way, yeah.
Pissed off?
I wouldn't say pissed off. I mean, this is the nature of the beast, right? This is how it goes.
What was your reaction to seeing Jalen Waddle get his name?
I was excited. I texted him. We all texted each other. Jalen Ramsey, Teron Armstead, Reek. We all texted each other in a group chat, congratulating him.
It's got to be a front group text. It's the Pro Bowl group chat.
I mean,
Let's go final question here.
those guys are hilarious, I tell you. But I'm happy for my boy.
He's awful at being mad.
Yeah. There was a smirk there. Can you smirk if I see your teeth? I don't know what the definition of a smirk is. There was just, I've never seen journalism done like that before.
Teeth. Smile teeth.
Yeah, I think I agree with Tony. It's a big distinction.
But we didn't have it in that clip, but he also said, I am something to the effect, I am very aware at the contracts some of these other quarterbacks are getting. I mean, he wants his, and that's his way of putting it out there. That he said he's antsy. I mean, he thought it would be done by now, and he wants his deal, and he wants $50 million plus a year, and the Dolphins are trying to lowball him and fill his contract with incentive clauses, which makes him do certain things to get back up to where he thinks he deserves to be to begin with. And when you see Jared Goff paid, the Dolphins want to give him Kirk Cousins money. Kirk Cousins is 10 years older. And I just think they need to pay Tua. He's their most important player, and they need to pay him and get this done.
I agree.
Because he's an upset quarterback right now.
Yes.
He's not gonna say it and come off as all upset, but you read between the lines and he's dissatisfied.
All right, we have more sound from the Tua press conference. We'll get to it in just a minute. But Donnie Wahlberg has arrived here, and the NBA Finals tip off tonight in Boston, and Donnie might be the most legit celebrity fan out there. He is a Celtics fan. He's very excited for tonight. Donnie, where are you sitting tonight? Courtside, right? Of course, right?
I will be sitting courtside. Yeah. I'm currently sitting in my dressing room at Blue Bloods. We're about to film our family dinner scene. One of the last few that we're going to do, but I'm going to go from here straight to the game, courtside. I think my brother Mark's going tonight. I'm going to try to make sure he stays beyond halftime. And, we're going to have a great time.
How many times does he make it past halftime?
He's a busy guy. We'll just leave it at that. I think he'll have to make it tonight because Boston hasn't forgiven him for leaving the Super Bowl at halftime. So they're not going to let him leave tonight.
Wait, how does this work? Does he just swoop in for the finals? Has he been to a game this year?
I don't think he's been to a game.
Wow.
I hold it down for the family throughout the season and through the early rounds in the playoffs, and then he comes in for the finals, and because we need the extra mojo. That's all. I will put it at that. He's just bringing some extra mojo tonight.
Is your brother a fake fan, or is that putting it too strongly?
No, I think he's a real fan. I think he just look. We're busy. He lives in the West Coast. I work in New York. It's a lot easier for me to zip up to games a lot, and I bleed green. I think all Bostonians do, but my energy is just different. I've been diehard with the Celtics from day one. I love going to road games. I love going to every game I can. I still think of being able to go to a game as like one of the biggest thrills of my life. My band still tours and plays the same arenas that a lot of these games are played in. And I am to the Celtics as blockheads are to New Kids on the Block. Like, our fans are blockheads. Like, to me, I have no shame in my support of the Celtics. I love them. I'm a legit fan. I don't really question anyone else's legitimacy. I just go hard all season long. Preseason, regular season, early round playoffs, it doesn't matter to me. I'm thrilled to be able to walk into the building. I never dreamed I'd even be able to go to a Celtics game, never mind sit courtside.
Donnie, how do you feel about LeBron James and the Lakers trying to steal the headlines right before we tip off the NBA Finals? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't really see it that way.
I'm telling you, Donnie, that's what's happening, okay? He's trying to win the NBA Finals without playing in the NBA Finals.
You're down there in Miami. You know, LeBron was down there for a while. You got a more of an insight into that dynamic. I don't really, I think my thing is, like, I think LeBron is still one of the greats of the game right now. I think he's still great. I think, you could say LeBron is trying to get attention, but I would say, he's not the one on TV talking about it. Everyone else is talking about it, not him. So I could say it's a story, but it's only a story if everyone makes it a story. I think, 2 weeks ago during the other rounds of the playoffs, everyone was talking about his son, Bronny, and where he's going to go in the draft. I'm not a LeBron critic. I'm a Celtics fan. So obviously, I'm not like a LeBron guy, but, I think, there's no greater example of who someone is than their kids. And Bronny seems like a great kid. And to me, that says a lot about LeBron and his wife and their family. And I go off that stuff more than what the media is talking about. And I don't mean any, offense to the fact that you guys have to cover these stories and stuff. I don't know. He seems like a great dad, and his son seems like a great kid. I wish them all luck. And I'm just glad he's not in the finals, and the Lakers aren't in the finals, and I'm glad my guys are in the finals.
That was very nice of you. Very, very kind of you. He injected himself into the finals. That's what I'm telling you. Like, that's what he did.
Yeah, he's still, no matter what, he still wields a lot of power.
You're right.
He's still a global superstar. He's certainly one of the biggest names and faces in the NBA. And, it's, it is what it is. He's LeBron. He's an all-time great. He's worthy of conversation to this day. So, kudos to him.
He is currently filming Blue Bloods, which is streaming on Paramount Plus. What do you have planned for Kyrie Irving, Donnie?
I go to the games, to Celtics games, to cheer for my guys, not to boo the other team.
I love it.
I loved Kyrie when he was in Boston. I wish he never left. But it's helped our team grow and become better. And I think our guys are now ready to go to the next level. And I don't go there to heckle. I don't go to yell at the refs. I'm strictly there to support my guys. And I think Kyrie would admit it, and I think he did the other day. And I think hopefully the fans would admit it. Too much hostility is not good. I think we in Boston need to focus on supporting our guys and getting them over the hump, not heckling Kyrie Irving. I like Kyrie. I think he's a great player, and I'm there to see my guys win. I want our guys to beat the Mavs, and I don't want to see Kyrie holding a trophy. But I have nothing against Kyrie, and I certainly don't want it to get messy at the games. Our team needs us to be the sixth man in the series and really inspire them and get them over the hump.
Donnie, tonight you go see your beloved team in the first game of the finals. In a week from now, on June 14th, New Kids open the summer tour. Can you compare the excitement of those two things? The nervousness, perhaps? Just what is your feeling going into tonight, and what's your feeling on stage in about a week?
You're asking if he's nervous on stage at this point?
Hey, look.
He might be. You never know.
No, I'll definitely 100% be more nervous tonight at the game. at tip off, I'm gonna be real nervous. My son will be with me. We're both really intense fans. Opening night of our tours is always, still to this day after all these years, it's really exciting. It's a lot of fun. Our fans still scream like they did like in 1990 when we did the original Magic Summer Tour. And it never gets old. It never gets old for me to step on a stage and hear thousands of fans screaming to perform. That never gets old. It never gets old going to Celtics games as well. But I would just say, I guess what's different now is sort of like as players become veterans in the league, the more experience they get, the game slows down for them. Performing, whether it's on set on Blue Bloods or on a stage, it all slows down now. And I'm able to soak it in and be much more grateful to take in the moments and to just move and pace myself better. Our concerts are like 2 hours of high energy. It's like playing an NBA game. We're running around, singing, jumping around, and putting out a lot of energy. So, it's fun now that it's slowed down and I can really take every moment in and just work it like a veteran as opposed to a young kid back in 1990 when we were running around like crazy people on stage.
You can get tickets at NKOTS.com. That's NKOTS.com.
Stugotz.
What was
NKOTB, new kids, NKOTB.
Oh, you know what? I mean, there was a typo here. I'm sorry about that, Donnie. There was. How could I get that wrong? How could I get that wrong? I mean, there was a typo here. I'm telling either that or I can't see anymore, and I'm guessing I can't see anymore. So, Donnie, my apologies. But, Donnie, listen, you have an issue here. I'm not certain you're aware of this. If your tour opens on June 14th, I believe there's an NBA Finals game. What are you going to do?
There is. It's going to be tough. Every time we go on tour, the Celtics or the Bruins. The Bruins have been in the Stanley Cup twice when we were on tour.
Not
and the
this
Celtics
year.
have been in the finals.
Not last year.
No, not
either.
this year. No, your guys are looking good this year.
Would you guys leave him alone? I mean, I already botched his promo. I mean, come on.
No. So, Stugotz, you can do no wrong in my eyes, man.
I
It's
love
all
you,
good.
man. Thank you, Donnie.
No, I think it's going to be brutal, but we keep a TV under the stage. So we have a dressing room under the stage. So we literally, we have people sending us updates from the side of the stage. And also, New Kids on the Block fans, we have the best fans ever. They know how much we love the Celtics. They literally hold up their phones showing us scores. Like they'll be giving us updates. We did a concert last year during Game 6 against Miami, when Derek White hit the shot at the buzzer. And all the fans were watching their phones to give us updates. That's okay. You guys won Game 7. Don't feel bad about that. But the fans were giving us updates, and we're on the stage, and fans were holding up their phones, and half the fans had a thumbs up, and half the fans had a thumbs down because they were reviewing the play, so nobody knew what happened. And literally, like, no one's even watching us perform. They're all waiting to tell us on stage what the result of the game was. It was incredible. And when they won, of course, the whole place erupted in cheers. And I'm sure that'll happen this year on tour. But I'm gonna hopefully make 2 games, possibly 3, but I don't know if it's gonna go more than 5. So I don't know how many I'm gonna be able to make.
Donnie, I'm a big sneakerhead. Can you tell me the story of how you guys got a Jordan 4 Wahlberg edition?
Great question.
I'm not sure how it happened. I think my brother Mark was hanging out playing golf with Michael Jordan at the time or something, and the conversation came up. I know this. When you see that shoe with like a $50,000 price tag, I don't buy it. I think there were only a few pairs made. I don't think they really cost that much. Sorry, my camera. I just can't seem to get myself in the center of the shot here.
You're fine, Donnie.
I'm not sure how they showed up, but I'll only say a funny story. My son, Elijah, who's a diehard Celtics fan, he goes to a lot of the games with me. He had a pair of those. He still has a pair. I don't even have my pair. My son has a pair of those. wore them to a Celtics game when Kyrie was there. We were in Chicago sitting next to the Celtics bench, and Kyrie looked over and he said, "Those are cool. You must know someone." And my son said, "Yeah, my dad."
So wait, you don't even have a pair of shoes that have your last name on them?
No, I didn't. I gave my pair to someone. My brother Mark actually gave his pair to my son for his birthday. We have like pairs like stored away, but a lot of them we gave to certain stores. They keep them in their stores and put like funny price tags on them that no one's ever going to pay that much money for those shoes. But it's fun to be, to walk into a Stadium Goods or something like that and see the shoe there with like a absurd price tag on it next to some other shoes that cost $500,000. It's pretty funny.
Donnie, there's a lot of narratives surrounding Jason Tatum and this group as they've sort of taken it step by step to get through to playing in the summertime.
That. They're hanging tough. Hanging tough.
They are hanging
Let 'em
tough.
cook, Donnie. Let 'em cook.
And they play tonight against Dallas, but if they're able to take home this title, will you be able to say, you got it, the right stuff? Or, ultimately, will you just be telling Jason Tatum, I'll be loving you forever?
Well, I will be loving Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown and the Celtics forever, win or lose. But I'm not into the narratives. I don't get where they've come from. I don't really understand. Like, first of all, Jaylen and Jason get along great, and they're great teammates. They both sacrificed a lot to buy into the team concept and to Joe Mazzulla's approach. I think they could both easily average 5 or 6 more points a game on another team if they weren't together. They really have altered their games for the better of the team. And I really think they support each other. I've been around the team a lot. They've always had a great rapport. But this narrative that Tatum doesn't come through in the clutch or these guys don't win the big games.
It's statistics that say that, no?
Oh boy.
Really? 50 points in a game 7 against Philly, 46 in a game 6 on the road against Milwaukee.
Tell him, Donnie.
Or was he late in the fourth quarter?
Tell him, Donnie. Yeah.
I'm not sure. I'll give you last year in game 7 against Miami. But, I think we get caught up in this narrative of like looking at the statistics, but let's look at all the statistics. Tatum's, a lot of the offense runs through him. He's averaging double digits in rebounds. He's doing other things in the game. He's defending guys that typically he wouldn't, necessarily defend, and using his size advantage and his defense. He's doing so many other things. And this team has 5 guys starting on the floor who can put up 25 points. And a lot of times Jason Tatum's being doubled and looking for the open guy. He's getting the ball early in the shot clock and making a quick read, and passing the ball off to other people. He could just throw up threes all game if he wanted to. I think this reputation that the Celtics have of not finishing, I think they're ahead of schedule. Let's just put it that way.
I like it.
Most of the superstars in the league have won their first championship at the age 27. Michael Jordan, LeBron, KD, you go down the list. It's crazy how many players. Shaq, all these guys, they all broke through at 27. Tatum's not 27 yet. I think when Kyrie was with Boston and Gordon Hayward was there, we were expected to win a championship. It didn't happen. There were injuries. There were other issues happen. But nobody thought Jaylen and Jason were going to be winning championships this soon. And suddenly they went from surprising everyone and overachieving to underachieving. Honestly, I think because of game 7 last year against Miami. I think Miami to this day is an underrated team. The last few years of Miami, I think they're underrated. I think Bam is an underrated player. I think Jimmy Butler is underrated. I think styles make fights. I think Miami matches up really good with Boston, and they are always going to give us a tough time, but not this season. They didn't match up good with us. Jimmy or not, they didn't match up good with us. And I don't think Dallas matches up well with Boston. I think the Celtics are a tough matchup for Dallas. I think their strength is the backcourt play of Luka and Kyrie. One of our strengths is our defensive backcourt of Giroux and D. White. If Kristaps is healthy and can protect the rim, it's going to be a tough series for Dallas for sure. But I think the narrative that the Celtics, or specifically Tatum, aren't clutch is totally wrong. It's totally out of left field. And I think there's no division on the team. They're locked in, they're unified. And I think they're doing a great job of not buying into the hype and the media scrutiny. I think they're play team ball. They're ready. They're focused. And I really think this is going to be their year.
Donnie, we'll get you out of here in just a second. I'm wondering, did you ever have a chance to meet Bill Walton? Do you have a story about Bill Walton? How does that work? Did you have a relationship?
I did meet Bill Walton. Yeah. A quick story. In 1986, when the Celtics won the championship, my high school was right on the corner where the parade route started. And first of all, I love Bill Walton anyway, just as a player, as a Celtic, and as a commentator, and as a human being. But my friends and I got to leave school early. Well, we snuck out of school to go to the parade. And so I got on my friend's shoulders and I high-fived Danny Ainge as the truck was going around the corner.
That a boy.
But then one of the other trucks was going by and I climbed on the back of it. And one of the security guys said, get down. And I said, I just want to say hi to Bill. And Bill Walton was just in front of him with his back to me. And he turned around and he said, let the kids stay. And he reached over and shook my hand and like high-fived me. And like, it was one of the greatest moments of my sporting fan life. I jumped down off the truck and just, it was such a kind thing because, a lot of people wouldn't even pay attention. They would just let the security guy push me off. And Bill was so enthused and so excited. And the kid in me, I'm only 16 at the time, the kid in me that climbed on that truck to see one of my heroes, in that moment connected to the kid in him. That kid, he would have probably done the same thing, is basically what I saw in him in that moment and what I remember about that moment. He loved seeing a kid who loved basketball and his team that much that he would climb up on the back of that truck, that he wanted to, celebrate in that moment with some random kid. And I wasn't Donnie Wahlberg of Blue Bloods or New Kids on the Block back then. He's a deadhead anyway. He probably didn't even like the New Kids. But I was just a nobody kid, and he took the time to acknowledge me in one of the highest moments of his career. And that says a lot about that kid-like spirit that lived in him his entire life, all the way till the end. So much so that most of us didn't even know he had a health issue or anything, because he just never lost his enthusiasm and his love of life.
Check him out on Blue Bloods. It is streaming right now on Paramount Plus. New Kids on the Block is on tour. You can get your tickets at nkotb.com.
Stugotz, let's go, baby.
Quick game, Donnie, before we get you out of here. It's called a shot for your life, okay? Shot for your life. Yeah. You have to choose one of these two people to take a three-pointer, and if they hit it, you're living. If they miss it, you're dead. Sorry. All right? Bird or J.J. Redick? Who you going with?
Bird.
Okay, good.
Larry Bird.
You're living. Bird or Caitlin Clark?
Yeah. Right now?
Yeah.
At their current age?
No, primes.
No.
Primes.
Bird.
Okay.
Bird.
How about Bird or Steph?
That's a tough one.
I know.
But I got to go. In a close call, I'm going with Bird.
Okay. Last one. Bird or MJ?
Ooh. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go with MJ.
Ooh. Uh-oh. Wow.
Because Bird would go with MJ.
That's a good answer, Donnie. That is a good, because the answer should always be Bird, but that's a great way of going with MJ. I like that.
Michael and Magic were both acknowledged by Bird in a way that, really elevated. Certainly Magic. The way Larry spoke about Magic and said Magic was the best he ever played against until Jordan came along. That made all of Boston respect Magic in a different way and be okay with, giving Magic his flowers ahead of Bird in the all-time greatness. But I think it would be hard to go against Larry in any situation. And I know people debate about the eras and the times and this and that. If Bird was playing now, forget about it, man. He'd average a triple-double and 40 points a game the way he shot the three. But, Steph's up there in shooting, and Jordan is just
You
he's
chose the right
Jordan.
guy. You chose the right guy. You have a show down here in West Palm Beach. Greg and I want backstage passes. Are we good? What do you think? Huh?
I would love to see you guys there.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Right. We'll make it happen. Pair of sneakers?
Not the green Wahlberg sneakers. I can give you something else.
Donnie, thank you so much for the time. Good luck with everything. Have fun tonight at the game. And give Kyrie some shit, man. Come on. You're a Celtics fan.
Nah, man. The rest of the fans will do enough of that for me. I'm not doing it.
All right, Donnie. Good luck and have fun,
see
man.
you soon.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Thank you so much.
You got it.
Bye, guys.
See you.
So this week I started and immediately stopped watching this new docuseries on Hulu called Clipped, which is like a reenactment, sort of like what they did with Pam and Tommy and the like Elizabeth, Thera, whatever girlie. And it's
Whatever
on,
girlie.
Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
The one with
The blood thing.
Elizabeth something. I always want to call her her. I can't ever remember her last name.
Hmm.
Elizabeth.
She had the fake story.
Yeah,
or she had the fake company
and she
about the
had
blood
weird
thing.
voice, black
Yeah.
turtleneck.
Hmm.
Black, but this
Steve
is not
Jobs.
The point. This is not the point.
Okay. What is the point?
I'm getting to it.
Okay.
So it's like one of
Elizabeth
those
Holmes?
shows. No, not Elizabeth Holmes.
Hurley.
Elizabeth.
Shoe?
No, Elizabeth.
McGovern.
Elizabeth Holmes wears a lot of black turtlenecks.
Give me more
Taylor.
keywords. Give me more keywords.
Yeah, it's
Taylor.
Elizabeth
That
Holmes.
is her.
It's
Taylor.
That is her. I thought Elizabeth Holmes was a different celebrity. I always want to call her
Nailed it.
Elizabeth Smart, which is
You're
like
thinking
a
of
girl
Katie
who
Holmes?
was kidnapped.
Montgomery.
Not the
Elizabeth.
same. But you know how they did the show with Amanda Seyfried playing her, and they had the So basically, what I'm doing a really horrible job of explaining is that Hulu made a show like that about the Donald Sterling like voice memos.
Really?
with her.
Doc Rivers.
Yes. And so they put together this. They tried to put together this little like reenactment of it, whatever series, and I got through the first episode, and it took all of 30 seconds for me to be like, what in the world is going on here? It is some of the most insane casting I have ever seen.
Right.
We're gonna pull up some pictures. This is a clipped Steph Curry.
Come on.
No way.
That's Dak Prescott.
Yeah, that's 100% Dak Prescott.
For our audio.
Wait, is Dak playing Steph Curry?
That would be elite.
Tony Parker.
For our audio audience, this is going to be really tough to explain, but just whenever you think Steph Curry, who doesn't look like Steph Curry, and then that's this guy.
Just picture Dak Prescott.
Yeah, picture Dak Prescott. I'd like to get the Blake Griffin guy up there next. This is Blake Griffin.
no.
That's
not Blake Griffin.
That's
There's no
Adnan
way.
Burke.
literally. He doesn't look anything like Blake Griffin.
Lucy, that can't be Blake Griffin.
No, that's Blake
That's
Griffin.
you called up the wrong person.
No,
There's
that's,
no way.
Can we get another photo of Blake Griffin in this show? Because throughout the first episode, which by the way is bad, it's not a good TV show. I kept having to look up the cast because I said I don't know who that is. I don't know. That's Chris Paul. That can't be Chris Paul. And Lawrence Fishburne is playing Doc Rivers. And so, like, you can kind of see, like, they kind of look alike, but a means Doc Rivers sounds more like Doc Rivers than Lawrence Fishburne. You're sitting there and it's impossible.
Is he trying to get it? Is he going down into like the?
No, not even a little
He's just
bit.
talking
He's
like
just using his
Fishburne?
regular voice. This is Blake Griffin.
What? No, it's not.
They are trying to tell
Well, it's
you.
actually not.
It's just not.
I got the hair there.
Like it's no.
Little
And-
freckles on the cheek.
No.
They didn't really get many tall people to play the basketball players too. I'm like, I know he's not like that guy's 5'11", okay? He's not in the NBA. You have to quit like lying.
Right.
If we can get JJ Redick up, for JJ Redick, they said the casting call was just let's get a white guy. We'll just take whatever white guy walks through the door and we will call him JJ Redick. And it made it impossible to watch the show because the whole time you're like that you didn't even try. You didn't even try to make these like actors look like the players they're representing. It's crazy. And the show is just straight up bad. The like guy in Modern Family who's
Ed O'Neill.
married to Sofia Vergara.
That's not a bad. He kind of the way they've made him up.
He looks enough like him, but he's likable. And you're like, so it's weird that he's playing like Donald Sterling. And then the woman who's playing like Vivian, the lady
V.
who like,
Stiviano.
that released the tapes. She looks like her, but all I can remember from when that's JJ Redick.
That's JJ Redick.
Just a white guy. They just
Wait.
said, just give us a white guy.
That is the actor playing J.J. Redick?
Yes.
But J.J. Redick has to be thrilled with that, no?
Oh, he loves
yeah.
it.
It's the opposite of Blake Griffin. Blake Griffin's pissed. JJ Redick's excited.
I literally was like, who is that? I had no idea. The whole time I had the Clippers roster pulled up, being like, I don't know who these people are. I have no idea who they're trying to pretend to be. And so they have a woman playing Vivian who, like, all I can remember from this, and this happened, 10, 15 years ago? And, like, it's pretty still, like, most people know what happened in the recent memory. All I can remember is when she gave the interview to Barbara Walters.
Yes.
And she was like, what was your relationship with Mr. Sterling? And she was like, I was his right-hand arm man.
His what?
And, yeah, his right-hand arm man.
His
and
what?
Yeah.
His silly rabbit.
No, it's one of the greatest pieces of sound we have ever played on this show. Hold on, Lucy.
good.
I'm just going to hit pause for a second because I want to play that clip.
Can you tell me what your relationship with Donald Sterling is?
I'm Mr. Sterling's right-hand arm man. I'm Mr. Sterling everything. I'm his confidant, his best friend, his silly rabbit.
His what?
His silly rabbit.
His silly rabbit?
Yes.
Is that what he calls you?
No, I call myself.
Okay.
In the doc,
That's why Barber's the best to ever do it, by the way.
in the series, he calls like they have him calling her his silly rabbit. Like there's like a piece of dialogue.
His what?
The woman playing her doesn't sound anything like that. That's Chris Paul.
Oh my God.
I had no idea who that was.
They couldn't have gotten Cliff Paul?
Literally, the only reason I knew that was Chris Paul is because they made some remark or they had fake Doc Rivers be like, this isn't a State Farm commercial. And I was like, oh my God, that's Chris Paul.
His what?
Yeah. It is maybe the most poorly cast show I've ever seen. And it's straight up bad. Like it's bad TV.
Right. Chris, what happened there?
I clicked the wrong clip, and I have me screaming for my daughter all of a sudden.
Yeah! How do we feel about Doc Rivers?
Oh, my God.
That's not bad, though.
That's not bad.
Of all the
Best thing
castings,
they've done.
of all the castings, it's one of the better ones.
But the voice, he didn't really even try to get the Doc voice. And so the whole thing is just who okayed this?
His what?
And this happened recently enough, and most of these players are still active in the league or active in media. So you can't get away with doing a bad casting job because we all still know what Blake Griffin looks like.
I think that's the big issue, right? Winning Time, people had issues with some of the casting there, but at least everybody in Winning Time has aged so much that you're not actively thinking about what they look like at that age all the time. Where right now, Blake Griffin still looks like Blake Griffin. Chris Paul still looks like Chris Paul. JJ Redick still looks like JJ Redick. So to have these random actors playing them that don't look anything like them is so confusing.
Nothing like them.
But to a point, though, Jeremy, when you look at Magic, when you look at Kareem, when you look at all the guys in Winning Time, you started watching and being like, oh, wait a second. No, I can kind of see it. There's no kind of seeing anything in clipped. It's I don't know what this is. Like a bad dream. When you have a dream,
you're never going to see it.
You can't really focus in on the guy. I know this guy. I just don't know where I know him from. He doesn't look like himself. That's what this is. Just a bad dream of Clippers.
His what?
I so badly want a movie about that team, but I want it to be good.
They're canceling this for sure.
No, it's not. I think it's going to be a short series. I made it through the first episode, and straight up, even taking the casting aside, which is really hard to do, it's not good. It's just not good. The writing's not good. Their weird transition or Instagram scrolls, it just doesn't make sense. And then you're you don't even look like these people. I can't believe you're acting, and I can't believe what you look like. And it's the whole this has just happened too recently, where this is a better documentary than it is recreating it in a little biopic type of deal. It's so bad.
Me and Greg are laughing at Blake Griffin.
So bad.
And Jeremy makes a great point. He's actually a good actor.
Yeah, Blake Griffin's funny. He's a good actor.
He could have played
He's
Blake
been in all
Griffin.
sorts of TV shows. He should have just played himself. He's not playing basketball anymore.
Right.
That looks like Eric Griffin, the comedian, not Blake Griffin.
I would have never guessed if you had shown me this actor's picture before watching clips and said, what NBA player is this guy representing? I would have no clue.
I mean, eventually you would say Blake Griffin because you're at it you're towards the end of all the NBA players who have ever played. Right.
It was just I don't know how all of it got okayed because the casting just continued to be so just I can't believe you're Chris Paul. You can make your State Farm jokes as much as you want, but I know that's not Chris Paul. And then the guy who's playing DeAndre Jordan is probably the best cast out of them, but he's short.
Right.
And you're I know you're not in the NBA. You're not tall.
DeAndre was 7 feet tall.
Yeah, they have him they got a 5'10" guy playing him, and you're And it was the closest like casting in the sense of like looking like the person they're supposed to play.
I would say JJ got a major upgrade. He's a good-looking guy, JJ, but he got an upgrade there. I would say Chris Paul even got an upgrade there, just in terms of who played him, in terms of he's a better-looking version of Chris Paul.
If I were Blake Griffin,
Still doesn't have a ring, but he's a better-looking version of Chris Paul.
Downgrade for Blake, for sure, though.
I would
Downgrade
say
for Blake, yes.
That's not it's just so bad. And so I won't be watching the second episode. I just couldn't do it.
Yeah, we got that impression.
The content isn't good.
You don't say, huh?
Is this a case of still active agents working for Chris Paul and JJ Redick lobbying to get them better-looking actors, while Blake Griffin's agent really isn't doing much at this point because he's not playing anymore, and so in turn, the lobbying for a more handsome actor
You have
just
all these
doesn't
guys
really happen.
having the approval. Like, Chris Paul has to approve over his actor.
I mean, not necessarily approve, just like a wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, come on, help me out a little bit. No?
You think they're going to the actual guys and saying, are you okay with them playing you?
No, I don't think that they're going
Because
to them.
if
But
that
I
was
think
the
when you
case and
find
they
out,
said yes to this.
But I think when you find out that there's going to be a show made about you, if you have a very good agent, you're not going to send that agent over to these directors and producers and just have them just kind of lay some groundwork for you, lay the table, if you will, on, hey, I'd like a more handsome actor to play me.
Well,
kind of get people in their memories thinking of me as a handsome guy.
I would too, Greg. I'm with you. But I think that's what Chris Paul did and JJ Redick.
Right.
The only one who didn't do it was Blake.
That's my point.
Yes,
Redick
I
won.
get it. Hey, full
Now
circle.
Come back around.
You feel better?
Yeah, I do.
Good news for them is it's so bad no one's going to watch.
Did you make it through the entire first episode?
I watched the first episode, and it was one of those things where I just really didn't have anything to talk about on the show. So I was like, oh, I really have to bring something for the next day. So I prepared, and I was like, this wasn't worth it. I'd rather just be bad at my job.
Thank you for your sacrifice.
Barbara Walter. Who's better than her, Greg? Seriously.
No, nobody.
I mean, can you give me a list of people better than Barbara Walter?
Absolutely not.
Top 5 Barbaras?